Hello and welcome to Mixing It Up. I hope you just watched the fill a font tutorial. That is actually a sneak peek of our downloadable classes. That's one little section that explains how fill a font works. And now we're going to take you a little bit further and show you just how useful this tool is. So on our screen, I have the alphabet in Arial font. Now, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of a wingding or dingbat, but those are actually fonts that consist of images versus letters. And so MemoryMixer has created some, we call them specialty fonts, because it allows you to fill a font, just as you've learned, but to give them a little extra twist. So that's what we're going to do in this video. So I have got A through E, upper and lowercase, and that's how we have arranged all of our specialty fonts. And so we have traded those letters for some different images. So I'm just going to go ahead and speed down here to MM. So we've named all of our fonts beginning with MM so you could find them quickly. So there are a number of fonts available and some new ones just coming. So I can't wait for you to see in the shop what is available. So the one we're going to be working with first is all about circles. But before I do that, I'm going to show you, here is a new one coming. This one is all about pennants, and you don't actually see all of them here because the font is too big. Let's see if I can open it up a little wider. So A through E, upper and lower. And now I'm going to come back here and go to all about circles because that's the one I'm going to work with first. So you can see how easy you just switch here. Now, when you're using a fill a font, especially if you're going to fill it with a picture, and especially when you're using the specialty fonts that's really shaped, you're probably only going to use one letter at a time. But this just shows you the different images that come with that font. And I'm going to take you to MemoryMixer.com and show you how these images come to you. They're all a font. You'll install it as a font. And then there's also a JPEG that comes with it that outlines which letter is associated with which shape. So you can look at it like this on the screen, or you can print that out and tuck it away and just use it for reference. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, I am going to use the letter C right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete the rest of the letters. As I mentioned, you're just going to typically want to use one letter at a time. So normally you wouldn't be deleting everything. You would just be typing in the letter you want. And I'm going to do the uppercase. And we do want it to be bigger than this. And something else to remember is the biggest size you can do is 600. So I'm going to go ahead and type in 300 here. Oh, let's go a little bit bigger. Let's do the 600. And then you'll just want to make sure you resize your text box so you can fit everything in. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come down here to custom fill or paper fill. Paper fill will take you right straight to all of the backgrounds that you have, and that's what we had been working with in the fill first tutorial. But in version 4, we have added a spot that will take you directly to paper, or here is a custom fill where you can actually go and browse for a photo. So I am going to come down here. Any of the photos will work. Let's try this one here. Okay, you see how that fits in. Now, if I wanted to go ahead and reposition that photo, I can come right into the custom fill again, and this time it brings me to the photo. And I can go ahead and make the picture a little smaller so I can zoom in there a little closer, reposition it. If I want to change photos, I would simply use replace photo. And if I wanted to reset the photo or revert to normal text. So we'll go ahead and say OK. And here we have it. You can just see that is such a cute way to, like almost like traditional scrapbooking, where you could trim your picture into different pieces and we call that photo tiling. So I'm going to go ahead and now take you to a finished layout using that photo. So you see, it's just a fun twist. Now, we've also created some other fonts. This one happens to be distressed photos, and that is really fun to work with too. I've gone ahead and filled the first few with a photo so you can see the effect. And I happened to use this when I was making a sign-in book for my niece, but it is a lot of fun. I'll show you a few pages from there. So this is one of the pages from her book. And here's another page. And just one more. And then I intermixed that with full page photos and more photos that had layout. But I wanted to leave plenty of white space for the signing portion of her book. So you can see there are a lot of fun things you can do with filling a photo. But there are also fun things that you can do filling with paper. You'll use the same techniques that we just used with a picture to do to fill a wingding or a dingbat. So I'm going to head and insert a page after here, and I'm just going to type in my capital letters. And we looked at this one briefly already, but I just, whoops, A, B, C, D, E. Now you could have just changed the font right there, but I've gotten in the habit of changing it over here. So, and this one, so there are puzzle pieces. There are flowers. These are the centers of the flowers that you can use to go with those flowers. There are leaves. There are other really phenomenal photo shapes. These here. There are like spiral notes that you could fill those. They are really fun to work with. Either a picture or even a paper looks really cool in that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take you back up to one of our new ones, and it is Banners and Pennants. And I just showed you a little sneak peek of that right here, but now I want to show you a finished layout. And so it's something very similar that we just did before. I'm going to go ahead and delete all of the letters so we just have this capital A right here. And I'll just change it to 300. And now you could change these to any size, again, up to 600. Okay, so I will just come down here now, select paper fill. It's going to take me right to my papers. And I'm just going to come in here to designers, and I'm going to go to Lindsay Jane. And let's go to a Dog's Life paper pack. There are lots of fun things here. There's a blue wood that would be fun. Let's see what that would look like. Okay, so you can see how that is. And of course you can add a drop shadow just the same. Now, something to remember from previous tutorials, and that is a text box does not have transparent pixels. So I cannot select a lower layer behind this. I can try and tighten up my text boxes, keep those a little more manageable size. So you'll want to watch for that. And what I find as I try and be more aware if I'm going to use specialty fonts, like back on this one that I did with the photo, it was almost on the very bottom layer. So I put my photo in place first, and then I built around it. Sometimes you might build your page and then add your photos. If you're going to be using specialty fonts, you'll just want to make sure that you keep your layers in mind as you're working. And of course, you can always select something and send it back layers and rearrange after too. It's just a little easier if you are designing with that in mind. So you can see you can add a paper to your specialty fonts. Now I'm going to show you a layout that I did using all of the specialty fonts. This was the banner one. So on this layout, I have used papers from Appetizers. It was a series of designs we did for a cookbook. So I've used those backgrounds here. And again, you just want to keep in mind as you're layering. And I had a hard time at first deciding how I wanted my pictures, so I was going back and forth. But a little secret I can tell you, if I wanted, so if I select this, you see that text box is really big. And it made it just a little hard to work with. And some of that is controlled by your fonts through Windows or your Mac. And so sometimes you can't control all of the details, but I found a great way to work around it. I simply select that object, I copy it, and then I go ahead and delete it. And now I can rearrange everything how I would like. Just remember, don't copy anything else in the meantime. And then I go ahead and I can paste it right back where it was. So that's a little shortcut for you. So this is the one I used, creating the arrows and pennants. And let's see, banners and pennants. I'm sorry. There is a font, a specialty font that is arrows that is a lot of fun too. So I think the specialty fonts are especially good if you're just needing a little finishing touch. Creating a whole layout, it's a little more tedious than using embellishments. Still very doable, but it is especially nice if you just need to add a finishing touch here, or you're wanting to add a big background, something that covers more of the background. So, but I hope you can have fun playing with the Philifont. It's a lot of fun. So I'll show you the next one I created, and this is with the flowers. So these are all flowers that are Philifont, including the centers. And these are papers, and those papers are from, let's see here. Just select on that paper there. Oh, it's from Fly Pixel Baked with Love. So you can see how that works up cute. These are leaves that are Philifont, and I just stacked some backgrounds. Filled it. All of these are used with that Baked with Love. And then I've got my photo boxes here. And then just to show you a few other things with the specialty fonts, I've done corners. So you have corners here. So there's one section that's called corners and tape. And so another style of corner. And then this last one here is a little piece of tape that you can actually fill with the paper. So you can see a Philifont can do so many things. I hope you have fun playing. And oh, Bo, before we leave though, I wanted to show you. I'm going to just take you to MemoryMixer.com. You'll go to more designs. And then if you just scroll right over here, you'll see MM Specialty Fonts. And you can come here. And these are our first fonts that we've had, but we have a whole bunch of new ones coming. So make sure you check it out. So if you'll come here, this is a photo tiling one, gives you many different options. But right here is an example, and this is what you can print out so you can see all of the different styles and what letter corresponds with that font. So thanks for stopping by. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and we'll check out our downloadable classes. Happy mixin'!